Namaste, everybody, and welcome. It's such a blessing to be here to discuss Venus-Mercury conjunction with Vanita Lenka. She will be joining us from India currently, but she also works out of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. You can follow her YouTube channel at VL Astrology. She has studied with K.N. Rao. She is an amazing astrologer, very spiritual, and I am looking forward to working with you very much. Such a blessing to have you here. Namaste, Vanita.
Namaste, Kṣaṇāti. Thank you so much for having me over. I've heard a lot about you. I have heard a lot about the way you are imparting your knowledge and how spiritual you are. You're telling me I'm spiritual. I think you are much, much, much more spiritual than anybody else is. I have watched quite a few videos of yours. Thank you for having me over. Thank you so much.
I'm so excited for today. So first, we're going to discuss different perspectives on this upcoming Mercury-Venus conjunction. Now, currently we are experiencing a current position of the Mercury retrograde in Pisces. It's also combustion. So it's an intense period right now. And the retrograde will be ending on the 19th, the 28th of March. And it will be in the 21st degree of Aquarius at this point. And then Mercury will be stationary until throughout the whole month of April and throughout the whole month of May. So we do not have to worry about Mercury retrograde anymore, but there's a very unique conjunction coming up. Mercury will be debilitated. And actually, when you have the retrograde, you have the Nichbhanga Yoga. You have some mediation of the debilitation. But now the debilitation will be more straightforward. Other interesting things worth mentioning is that Venus and Mercury will be joining together in Aquarius on the date of March 22. That will be when Venus will enter the Aquarius. And so Venus will be in with Mercury and Aquarius during that time. And both Venus and Mercury will be traveling together in Aquarius through the whole rest of the month of March. Then as we look into April, we're looking that Mercury will leave Aquarius on April 11. Venus will leave Aquarius on April 15. And at this point, they will be conjunction in Pisces. This is most remarkable because for Mercury, Pisces is the debilitation sign, and for Venus, Pisces is the exaltation sign. So this is a very powerful conjunction. I've seen this in some kundali, I've seen this in some charts, and it has very many spiritual significations. So those are just some of the dates. There will be blessings of this period. There will be opportunities of this period. There will be great potentials during this period, but there will also be side effects. There will also be challenges. There will also be some karmic struggles or karmic conflicts which we have to go through, of course, dependent on the natal chart. So that's just a little bit about the timing of everything. Vanita, what would you like to share about that?
Yeah, Kṣaṇāti, actually it is going to happen from the 15th night and 16th early morning, April, that these two planets, these two powerful planets, Venus is the planet of, they both have natural benefits if we see. If they're conjunct together, they are friendly to each other. They are, and it is not a very uncommon kind of a conjunction because they are closer to Sun and they are closer to each other most of the time. So it is something that, which happens most often. So if they are conjunct in Aquarius, so from Aquarius, they are moving further on to Pisces together. So it's something which is very common. But yes, it is a Nichbhanga Raja Yoga also, I would say. And Venus being the planet of love, passion, conscious desires in all its forms. It provides fame and denotes various art forms, literature. a powerful Venus, here will actually, you have to pay a price for it though, because it is in Jupiter's sign. It is, a planet of happiness. It is going to give you material comforts. It will give you material benefits, sensory pleasures. So it is something that, with Mercury being the planet of intelligence and communication, detail oriented, and closest to the sun. So it is having a deeper, soul nature. So whatever is happening around you, Mercury tells you why is it happening. So why I find this conjunction so important and so powerful, because Mercury is not losing. When this Neech Bhanga is happening, it is with these two planets especially. The planet which is of wisdom, of logical thinking, is getting conjunct with the Venus. So it is going to help us bring the Mercurian, whatever Mercurian traits are, to come up. Because, Neech is to go down, being suppressed in a particular sign, in a particular zone. So it is losing strength. It is till the time Venus joins Mercury in Pisces, Mercury is pretty weak for those few days, because from the 12th April, Mercury will be transiting through Pisces again. 20 days it has already transited through it in Pisces, but there was no Venus there at that time. Venus was in Capricorn. It is still in Capricorn when we are recording this video. So when Venus is going to join for these 20 days, this weak Mercury, so Mercury is being pulled up, because from 12th till the 16th, Mercury is still weak. So the moment the Venus comes in, it will bring that significations of Mercury even with a great, I feel it will be more powerful in this sign.
I love this perspective, Vanita ji, and this brings us to some Sanskrit for just a brief moment, and reminds us that Shukraya is the pure one, is the bright one. And when you are looking in the sky, we can see that Venus is often the brightest planet or the brightest star in the sky. So what you say about Venus bringing Mercury up and it creating a powerful position, I cannot agree more. Like you were also mentioning, there will be a time before the Venus will join Mercury on the 11th of April until the 15th of April. So it's only a short period of time before Venus is there to help Mercury out. Now, this, when a lot of times when you're thinking of a friend relationship, like Mercury and Venus having this friend relationship, that will be very positive, but it doesn't mean that there won't be challenges that come along with that as well. Now, one thing that was worth mentioning that I thought was significant is that there is no exact conjunction between Mercury and Venus. You can think of Mercury and Venus as having a beautiful dance together, but it is not a very close dance. It is not a slow dance. They are more dancing from further away from each other. So they are able to look at each other. They are able to feel each other's energy. They're able to reflect, but at least they are not within the exact same degree of each other. Even friend planets, when they become close to the same degree, it can cause certain challenges. That's why they might call that planetary war. Even though they're friends, friends don't really have war with each other. Still, a planet doesn't get to express its unique energy whenever it's in a tight degree within another planet. So another thing which I like about this transit is there's 3-4 degrees of separation continuously throughout the conjunction. Now, with the Venus and Mercury expression, sometimes when Mercury is in this debilitation, this is our logical or our rational faculty. So when it comes time to make decision, we might throw our logical or our rational mind out the window. This is when Venus is debilitated without the help of Venus and there's some difficult position. It means that for whatever reason, we're not listening to our logical mind. We're not listening to our rational mind. But Venus, once Venus comes in to help, there will be another evaluation, not just the logical or the rational evaluation, but more of the spiritual evaluation in terms of how this is going to affect me, how this is going to affect other people, how is this going to affect the other world, because Venus will be exalted. And Venus wants to be in harmony and balance with everything. So this will even though the Mercury debilitation will still be saying, okay, maybe my logic isn't as strong as it could be when Mercury is in Virgo. Maybe my logic isn't as strong as when Mercury is in Gemini, which we'll be seeing later with Rahu and Mars in the summertime.
Right.
But there is this strong vibration right now. Once Venus comes in, it's like, okay, I'm going to make this decision, and I'm going to do it based on logic, and I'm going to do it based on what is best for everybody. See, without Venus, they might not be considering what is best for everybody. But once you bring in Venus, they consider what is best for everybody. It like reminds me of the old story of when the moon sleep with Tara. The moon have an affair with Tara, and then the moon go.
That's all Venus effect.
Moon go to Shukra and say, Shukra, have I done anything wrong? And Shukra says, of course you've done something wrong. How foul are you? So there is this energy of we have to consider the consequence of our action, not just how it makes us feel, but how it makes others feel. But as you're going through this Mercury period, it can, in the Pisces sign, without the support of Mercury, do not, even though we might be tempted to throw the logic out the window, remember it should be an effectual part of any decision making. We do not make decisions just based on emotion. We do not make decisions just based on how we feel, but also the logic or the rational. Now, when Mercury will be traveling in Aquarius with Venus, and this is a different conjunction than the Mercury and Venus in Pisces. The Mercury and Venus in Aquarius, especially as it goes through Satabhishak Nakshatra, Dhanista Nakshatra, then you have this influence of some Rahuvian energy coming into the middle of the Aquarius Lagna, especially as it's passing through Satabhishak Nakshatra. So in this time, there will be people's consciousness will have very many unique interests. Interest in directions that you might not normally have. Now, the issue when Mercury and Venus are together, Mercury likes to give its energy over to whichever planet it is closest towards.
Absolutely.
And when Mercury is with Venus, it will be happy to give some of its energy over to Shukra. And Shukra can be very picky. And Aquarius is already this idealistic Rashi. So when you get this Venus-Mercury conjunction together, part of the challenge of this time of Venus and Mercury being in Aquarius together is perhaps we are too idealistic in our thinking. Okay? Hopefully in our thinking, there is a balance of optimism and realistic. And in its most evolved form, I think of Kumbha or Aquarius as pragmatic, which means instead of being idealistic, if it works, it works. or as another saying goes, if it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So there is this energy where you may be tempted to be idealistic. You may be tempted to be perfectionist, depending on your chart. Could be any area. But let's say that you're thinking about this in terms of relationship, in terms of romantic partner. There's some effect over the 5th house or the 7th house for you. Well, maybe the type of person that you want to be with is too idealistic, which means is too perfect. It's not being realistic enough, which means
Right.
you have to compromise. Another saying of this Aquarius, Mercury, and Venus in vibration is you have to take the good with the bad. And if this is going to be affecting in your relationship, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner, your husband, your wife, they will have many good qualities. But they will also have challenges, and you must accept this. You must be pragmatic. In other words, if their life is working, even though they have flaws, even though have weaknesses, it's not your responsibility to fix or change them.
Right.
And this will be very interesting because Venus and Mercury are together. It's very beautiful in terms of good communication between our partners. But it can also show, especially when Mercury is debilitated without Venus, and sometimes depending on the chart, it could be a functional malefic in the chart, which means this might be a time to improve our communication within our relationships. And yes, we're talking about romantic relationships, but also our business relationships, also our collaborative relationships, also our friendships, also our animal relationships. So we have to be careful not to be too idealistic, to accept people's flaws, be more pragmatic during this time of Venus and Mercury and Aquarius. And once it moves into Pisces, the Nichbanga Raja Yoga position, Venus will bring a lot of light to the Mercury. So this can be a really good time for good communication in the relationship, good pleasure in the relationship. And if Venus is affecting career or finances, you will have good income and good pleasure in those areas as well. But you have to be patient as Mercury transits through the Saturn sign, and until Venus joins Buddha, until the Shukra-Buddha conjunction, that will be the most favorable part. So I hope that was interesting, Vanita. I'm curious what you...
Yeah, I want to hear more. Please continue. Yeah, I really love hearing you, you really have a different perspective, and it is like, I can hear, I prefer hearing and listening to whosoever is on my channel also. I just keep mum and I want to learn, maybe something different I will take home today. So nice. Yes, Aquarius is a sign which has a blend of detachment. It has a blend of uniqueness, liberation. It is a sign where you as you rightly said, that it is a sign where you have to experiment with new concepts. Actually, it is a sign of conversation. It is the 11th sign of the zodiac. So it is the sign of which is non-judgmental, and Mercury is very happy there, I feel, because it's a Saturn-owned sign. So Venus is also happy because even in Capricorn, if you see, Venus has behaved so well. There is no mishap, nothing. And I've got people who are, though it becomes very practical in Capricorn, but in the sign owned by Saturn, which is the second best sign, owned by Rahu also. So here I feel I take Rahu also as the owner of Aquarius, So it's like, I feel that it is a beautiful combination when they are together in Aquarius. So I feel they are very happy. They are at home. They both are pulling each other up nicely, and being in retrogression, as we all know, what we all have to do. We don't have to take any decisions regarding writing, speaking. We don't have. That can lead to miscommunications and stuff, which is like too much stuff on the internet about Mercury retrogression, so I don't want to bore people anymore further on that. But yes, it is like, you feel immensely free in this sign when both of these two planets of business communication there on the one side and love and romance on the other, both the blend is pretty it is going to immensely give freedom in those areas. So it is something very I feel it is gives a lot of curiosity in those areas to both, because it's a fixed sign and it's like a reputation for disruption, words, ideas. So these will not change with the breeze. That is the sign of Aquarius. So when these two I feel are going, they are thinking out of the box in this sign. So when they go and move further on in the sign of Pisces, so what is going to happen? They both are friendly to each other, so they are actually helping each other, because Venus is exalting there for what? Venus feels that it is being the more of the human love, sensory pleasures, it is going towards the spiritual devotion there. That is why it's a Jupiter sign, and Jupiter curtails the significations of Venus. It's the Daitya Guru and it's the Deva Guru. So they both become like in the blend. And as it is, if you see from Scorpio, it is aspecting Pisces. So when it is not in Scorpio, it is going in the Kendra from when Jupiter is moving into Sagittarius. So still there is a connection, you see. There's a connection with Jupiter, strong connection with Jupiter. Because Neecha Bhanga Raj Yoga is forming, getting stronger then also. Because the Lord, or where the dispositional Lord of Mercury, Jupiter is in the Kendra from itself. When Jupiter is transiting through Sagittarius. So it is again a very powerful yoga which is forming. So I just want to highlight a few things. You see, when Venus and Mercury will be transiting through the Navmanshas also. For 2 days each, they'll be staying in different Navmanshas. Okay. So from 0 degrees to 3 degrees, 20 minutes, from the 16th to the 19th, Venus will be in Cancer Navmansha, where it is Vargotama. It is Vargotama also. So it is something, which is, sorry, it is not Vargotama at that time, sorry. It is not Vargotama, it is in Cancer Navmansha where Jupiter exalts. That is what I wanted to mention. So these 2-3 days will be really powerful. The initial days when Venus moves from Aquarius to Pisces. So it'll be really helpful for Cancer rising people. See, if you see just the D1 chart, from the face of it, you will say, okay, it is a Mallavya yoga forming for the dual sign, so it is going to be in the Kendra, so it is going to give good results. But what will happen to the people who are not having a good position in the Navmansha? So again, it will not give, suppose, on the 16th, when Venus and Mercury join in D1 in Pisces, for Aquarius rising, what will happen? Or the moon signs. Pisces is in the second house. Okay, Pisces falls in the second house for Aquarius rising. And in D9, Neecha Bhanga Raj Yoga is not working. Why? Because it is in the 7th house and the 8th house. Venus is in the 7th house of Cancer, and Leo is in the 8th house. So how can we say that the Neecha Bhanga Raj Yoga will be forming and working throughout? No, it won't. Even for Taurus people, it is in D9 going to be in the 7th house and the 8th house. Again, Venus will be in the 7th house of Cancer, and for 8th house in D9, I'm talking in D9. So in D9, Venus is going to Cancer in the 7th house, and 8th house Leo, Mercury is going. So I just wanted to stress on this is that the signs Taurus, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Aquarius signs in the beginning. So it's just an example that I'm giving. For 2-3 days, this Neecha Bhanga Raj Yoga is not going to be effective. for these people. And also when it is going into the Gandanta towards the end, in the 29 degrees 12 minutes towards the end, when it is about to leave the sign of Pisces, for that particular day on the 10th, 9th and 10th, it is going to be in Gandanta. It is like, you have a lot of complications during that time. There is something that you have missed in your past. And at the same time, look at the D9 position. It is Vargottama. It is in Pisces Navmansha. So that is something which is cancelling the Gandanta. So it is going to be like people, like this is for the ones who understand astrology. What I'm specifying right now is something who people who are aware of astrology, Vedic astrology, that Gandanta, Vargottama and Navmansha position of Neech Bhanga Raj Yog will get cancelled or will not fructify until and unless the planets in the houses they are occupying are not those sthanas. If there are those sthanas occupying the 6, 8, 12, so it will not function. That's what I wanted to speak on specifically. Kṣaṇāti.
Vanita, that is amazing illumination on not just the divisional charts position of this transit, but also the Gandanta position. And it's something when we're discussing a transit, we're talking about these general aspects, which no matter what your chart is, you'll be able to pick up on this energy subtly. But depending on if this alignment is functionally benefic for your chart, you will experience great pleasure. But as was mentioned, if there are some activation of the Dusthana houses during certain periods, this could be a difficult transit because the Neech Bhanga will not be fully active. So this is something very important, and I'm happy that Vanita discussed this. One more thing I wanted to say, which I thought was a kind of a way of understanding this transit of Mercury and Venus in Aquarius and then Mercury and Venus in Pisces, is Mercury and Venus are both very happy in the Aquarius. So as I said, they are dancing, but they are 3 degrees apart, and Aquarius is the song. Aquarius is the song which is playing, and they both like the song which is playing. It's some Saturn type song. So they are enjoying the music which is playing. They are able to be dancing together, and they are enjoying this very enjoyable, innovative, creative dance together with a song that they can both enjoy and appreciate. But when Mercury goes into the Pisces without Venus on the April 11, then not only is Venus no longer dancing with Mercury, but the song has also changed. And the song which has changed is Mercury's does not like this song. This is the song that Mercury does not even want to dance to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then when Venus comes in on April 15, then Venus is wearing beautiful dress. And the way that she is dancing, this gets the Mercury very excited. And even though the Mercury does not like the song which is playing, Venus is so beautiful, exalted, and Venus is so good at dancing to the song which is playing, then Mercury will be happy to dance too. And you'll be surprised. Mercury might not be the best natural dancer, but it is quick to learn. So again, there is this kind of uncomfortable position of Mercury, but Venus's glory, Venus's beauty, it is like the song which is playing, and Mercury will say, okay, you know what? I don't like this song. It's too Jupiterian. It's too much. It's too much Pisces energy. You know, I want to listen to music which is intellectually stimulating. I don't want to listen to kirtan or bhakti or chanting. But when Venus starts feeling the Bhakti Bhava and starts with the chanting, then Mercury starts feeling it too. So we're looking at a very comfortable transit here that on paper, you could see that Mercury being debilitated could be a difficult challenge. But like Vanita and I both have discussed, the position of Venus, the close traveling, and here's another interesting point too, that when Venus and Mercury get to Pisces, they have already been in Aquarius together for some time. So they have been used to each other's energies. They are more comfortable with each other's energies, and they are already old friends to begin with. So it's good that they are enjoying March, April, May, and they're enjoying this time together like two old friends who have not missed a moment of their friendship. And even though they have different taste in music, because they are friends together, they will be able to appreciate what each other's gifts are, what each other's skills are. And in this specific case of this transit, Mercury giving a lot of its power over to Venus, and Venus getting very strong and powerful. So that's all I just wanted to share about this transit. I hope it was interesting. I love everything that you share, Vanita, and look forward to more of these type discussions in the future.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And I just want to add something here. The nakshatras, they are going to transit. They are also very powerful nakshatras. So as I mentioned before, recording this video, I was telling you they are going to transit through the nakshatra of Dhanishta and Shatabhisha, and then it'll be Purvabhadra and Uttarabhadra also, and Revati towards the end. So these are all the nakshatras, especially when Mercury and Venus will be going through the Revati nakshatra. So that will be the nakshatra, which will be good for marriage ceremonies, for children. Like we pick and choose the Mahurta, so that is something that we do when Venus is exalted. So when Venus is combust or when Venus is debilitated, we never have any auspicious ceremonies, especially in India. Yeah. So that's the time, we should pick and choose Mahurta, even if Mercury is debilitated, but if Venus is exalted. So which shows that how powerful is Venus in Pisces. As it is Jupiter own sign, so it is very auspicious. It's considered very auspicious. So whenever there is any, good activity that you have to, auspicious activity that you have to conduct, you should choose this phase. So this is for the people who are planning to do something of this sort. So, you can always, though Mercury is also very happy in Revati, its own nakshatra. So that is the only nakshatra when Mercury because it will be out of its debilitation point when it reaches Revati, especially the last pada. So it is going to be really strong, profound. You are back into the profound thinking. The thinking pattern changes what it was from the past. So this is what I've experienced, So I feel that is something Mercury in its own nakshatra will do really well, at that time.
I think bringing in the nakshatras are excellent. Just to touch on that, Dhanishta is Lord Shiva's drum. So when Venus and Mercury are traveling in this nakshatra, if you are a musician, you have this will be a great time for innovation, creativity. You should make a new song. If you're a producer, you should make a new beat. So you should be creating new music and exploring new musical ventures, especially if you have significant Dhanishta nakshatra positions in your chart. Then when Venus and Mercury get into Satabhisha, we have more of a healing, more of a medicinal energy. So do you have interest in Ayurveda? Do you have interest in Chinese medicine? Do you have interest in Vastu? Do you have interest in Jyotish? Do you have interest in psychic medium, in channeling, in marma, acupuncture? We have 100 types of disease. We also have 100 types of medicine. So this is very important as this nakshatra, as Venus and Mercury dance in this nakshatra, not only let us explore these different healing modalities, let us heal ourselves, because we're all sick in one way or another, let's be honest. And as they move into the Pisces nakshatra, it will Mercury will do difficult in the first two nakshatras on the Pisces side. But as Vanita ji mentioned, when Mercury gets into Revati, it will be past the debilitation point. It will be in its own nakshatra. And as Venus travels through these Pisces nakshatras, all three of them will be very favorable. And there is some indication where if you have a spiritually focused life, let's say you're a sadhu, or brahmacharya, and you have taken this vow, then maybe you will get to new layer of growth in your sadhana. Maybe you will have vision, because Mercury has to do with what we observe. So it can actually, Venus is when we feel God. Venus is the feeling, oh, I feel God, I feel God. But if Mercury, you can see God. And we can never see God, but we have image, or we have vision, or we have dream, or we have illumination. And there's something very special as Mercury and Venus are together in the first two nakshatras of Pisces, and then in Revati nakshatra. What are these visions? What are these illuminations? If you're in an ashram meditating and chanting right now, this could really take your spiritual evolution to the next level. It will be a good time for visions and also epiphanies. And also, not only will you feel God, but maybe you can see God as well.
Yeah. Wow, absolutely correct. Yeah. Purva Bhadra and Uttar Bhadra are the two nakshatras that you were mentioning about, the first two nakshatra of Pisces. You know, they are very strong. One is sword, and the other one is, I think, the cow or something like that. Yeah. So it is more to do with, you know, you have to control your emotions, because Mercury, you know, is that's the peak point of debilitation of Mercury. So it is one has to be really careful when Mercury is transiting through Uttar Bhadra. I can mention you can mention the details of the nakshatra transit in the description, you know, though I have all the dates with me. So it is something that, you know, you will feel that you are getting spiritually inclined, but, you know, you're getting very emotional about things. Don't get too attached to something. When these two nakshatras, you know, you get through, don't fight a lot, because sword, you know, is something that you're fighting with your inner you, with your emotions. But at the same time, don't let them overpower you also when Mercury is transiting through Uttar Bhadra. So it is good that, you know, it is with Venus, because Venus is very happy there. Your material relationships, your love relationships, they will really nourish, they will really flourish. You can nourish them, and you can flourish also through that. So it is something that you will be connecting more to the divine when it is transiting through this nakshatra of Uttar Bhadra. So I feel that it is a wonderful layout, you know, that I don't know, whosoever has designed this, it is so meticulously planned. I really get so happy to be a part of this divine, you know, subject.
Yes,
Really
yes.
meticulous.
The divine architecture. Divine
Yeah,
architecture.
just see how it is designed. It's like, you know, one nakshatra after the other in this pada, in this navmash, how it is connected. Amazing. I have no words. I can't. I'm just a petty person here.
You bring up excellent point about Mercury's transit in Purva and Uttar Bhadrapada, and
Yeah.
the Venus and Mercury conjunction of this. This is very interesting because, as you said, there's great spiritual potential, but there is
Yes.
also the potential for spiritual madness.
Right.
Spiritual
Right.
madness, which we call this disorder of obsessive compulsive disorder.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's right.
religion, we can practice it mystically. And
Mm-hmm.
this means religion doesn't control or dominate us, but it's part of our life. It's part of our sadhana. But there are many times where it's actually the religion which controls the life of the person. It controls the actions of the person. It controls the decisions of the person. For example, if you believe that you don't do this, that the God will be angry with you. And we call this superstition. But yeah, but and it's pure. It is positive and pure in that it comes from fear of God. And we should all have some fear of God. But also God is the love. So it's we don't do spirit. This is something to consider as this transit is going through, that we don't do things for our spirituality out of fear that God will punish us if we do not do them. That is not the reason we take spiritual actions, out of fear of punishment from God. But more, if we do, the mind will be insane.
Right.
This type of thinking will drive the logical part of the mind insane. We do things for spirituality. We do things for God because of devotion, because of love, because it makes us feel good, because it's our truth, because it's our ultimate sat. It's the truth which is coming from our hearts. And Mercury, very interesting, doesn't always tell the truth. But Venus is very truthful and honest. So Venus will be encouraging Mercury to be more honest during this period. Even though Mercury likes to make jokes, they could not always be 100% honest. So again, just the point being here that yes, this is a huge chance for spiritual sadhana. But let us not be do our spiritual practice out of worry, out of fear, out of superstition, but let us do it out of the devotion of God and love of God.
Absolutely, very well said. I hope everybody follows what you're saying. So it is. This transit is good for Taurus people. It is good for Gemini. It is good for Cancer. A little bit precarious, difficult for Leo because it's the 8th house transit. And then for very good for the dual signs, as we mentioned earlier. Then it is good for for not that good for Libra, but it's good for Scorpio. It's good for even for Capricorn. I think it's good for Aquarius. It's good, and for Pisces, of course, it is for the dual signs, as I said. So it's an overall just a general view for these signs, because we cannot take up each and every sign because this is something which is very general. It's an inner planets we are talking of. So they are here for short time, 20 days, 15 days. So it's like it will impact, but it will be like not a long lasting one, as Saturn, Ketu, Rahu, Jupiter, they are going to impact us. So just that's it from my side. Kṣaṇāti, if you have to say something, the closing statement, over to you.
I just want to say this transit in Pisces with Mercury and Venus, it will take you to Svarga. It can take you to Svarga, the celestial dimension. But Mercury is also there. So you're not going to stay there. And you're going to come back. And when you come back from Svarga, what do you do with that? What do you do with that place? Do you try to communicate that? Do you try to express that? How can we express what is unexpressible? So the experience which we're having, let us just have the experience and not try so hard to express it. Because this expression of the experience, it is only broad strokes at describing what our ultimate connection with the divine really is. In other words, I don't think Mercury is the right planet to express our relationship with the divine. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try, but Venus is encouraging us during this transit to experience it, but not try to define it, not try to describe it. just to be with it and to experience that. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does, because Venus is a planet of love, romance, and it is for it is in the sign where you are completely replenished, you are completely satisfied in the worldly matter. So now it is your spiritual growth time. So it is, look into yourself. God is giving you a chance. Whenever this kind of transit happens, so in the sky, you have to make the best use of it, actually, even if it is a short transit. But it is going to be because in June or July, somewhere around that time, there will be a Nichabhanga again, when Venus is in the sign of Virgo and Mercury is also in the Virgo sign. So it is going to happen again, but we change places. So this we will be carrying forward to that. So whatever you are laying the foundation right now, when the Nichabhanga is happening in Pisces, so it will be taken to the Nichabhanga, which is going to take place in Virgo. So it is a foundational period for that.
Excellent. Excellent. There was one analogy that I just thought of for our viewers to understand the situation. Let's say you're doing your sadhana, you do the pranayama, you do the chanting, and then you start meditating. And in your meditation, Lord Shiva comes to you. And Lord Shiva delivers you this great message. And you feel that you have darshana with Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva give you this wonderful message. And then you go and you try to tell that to somebody. The person will look at you like you are crazy. And what it does is it devalues your experience, because you just had darshana with Lord Shiva. That is the real experience. But if you try to tell that to someone and they try to look at you and tell you that you're crazy, it takes away from the value of your experience. So best not to say anything at all.
That's what Mercury does. That's the Mercurian, that is going to play when you are going to share your nice experience. The other person with the Mercury debilitation will be just spoiling the whole, experience. Yeah.
So just
beautiful. I went there, actually. I experienced Lord Shiva.
Yeah.
I always experience him, when I went to the yatra, I experienced him. He was just walking with me, as if you have those hair like Shiva.
Yeah, me too. I feel Lord Shiva is always in my heart, and I always feel always in the back of my mind, it's Om Namah Shivaya, like a mantra always going through my head. And when I was a very young boy, my uncle is Hindu, my godfather, and he introduced me to Lord Shiva when I was a young child, and I started crying hysterically. All these tears started pouring from my eyes. I was like, this is the manifestation of the divine, which resonates with me.
True. I agree, and I can connect and relate to it so well. I know what you're saying. I know. I have experienced the same thing so many times. Thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti. It was a really pleasurable experience, listening to you. I really wanted to hear more. I will be hearing more. Sure, in the future also. Yes. Thank you so much. Kṣaṇāti. God bless you.
Thank you, Vanita, for your in-depth analysis and bringing the divisional charts, the Gandanta, and all of the unique positions of different people's ascendants and how it will pick them, so how it will affect them, so that everyone knows even more specifically how this will be influencing their life. I can't thank you enough for your knowledge, wisdom, kindness, and I very much look forward to the next time we do this work together.
Sure.